What's up guys, it's Tom here and welcome to a brand new Liverpool transfer news video. And the Bild reporter Christian Falk, who broke the story first that Thiago is coming to Liverpool back a few years ago. He's pretty reliable and he wrote a story in the Bild newspaper that Sancho's arrival at Borussia Dortmund put a lot of pressure on Donyell Malen, and he's suggesting that Donyell Malen could be Mo Salah's replacement in the future, because he said Dortmund could sell Donyell Malen immediately. There was an idea of even a swap deal between Manchester United and Dortmund where Malen goes to Man United, Sancho goes to Dortmund, but Man United didn't go for it. Man United didn't want to get Malen, and if there is an offer coming from the Premier League for Donyell Malen, Dortmund will be open to talks. That has been confirmed by this journalist. So do you think Donyell Malen would be good enough to replace Mo Salah? Right now I think definitely not, but he would be a pretty decent option. He's 25 years old, his main position is playing on the right wing, but he can play centre forward and left wing as well, and he's from the Netherlands, just like Virgil van Dijk and Cody Gakpo and Gravenberch. We already have a pretty decent Dutch contingent, and Donyell Malen will turn 25 on January the 19th. He has a contract until 2026. His current market value is not too high. It's 35 million euros, which is around 30 million pounds. I think Dortmund will want to sell him for quite a lot more, because they signed him from PSV Eindhoven for 30 million euros, so they probably would want around 40 million euros. This season Dortmund are not having a great season, even though they qualified to the knockout stages of the Champions League from the group of death. But in the Bundesliga Dortmund are struggling compared to last season, when they were a goal away from winning the title on the last day of the season. Donyell Malen has 6 goals and 2 assists in all competitions, and in 23 games that's nowhere near Mo Salah's levels. That's not even close to the Darwin Núñez and Diogo Jota level that we kind of expect from a Liverpool forward. But Donyell Malen is still only 24. As I said, he turns 25 years old, and last season he had a better season, scoring 10 goals and getting 8 assists in 35 games. He had a few injury problems. He missed 4 games with the torn muscle fiber, but otherwise he has been pretty reliably playing for Borussia Dortmund. But that's the thing, you know, Donyell Malen had amazing numbers at PSV Eindhoven, just like Cody Gakpo. He scored 27 goals in his last season for PSV Eindhoven in the 2021 season, and he scored 17 goals the season before that as a 21-year-old player. And then he goes to Dortmund and he had 9 goals in his first season, 10 goals in his second season, and he's on course to get around 12 to 15 goals this season if he can play the second half of the season injury free. So I think he's not at the required level, but you can't really buy a player like Mo Salah unless you are buying Kylian Mbappe. And if Salah leaves at the end of the season, Liverpool might do a masterstroke by signing Donyell Malen in the January transfer window, because we give Donyell Malen 6 months to really get up to speed with how Liverpool play without the immediate pressure of being a direct Salah replacement. I think that's why it worked when Luis Diaz was signed 6 months before Sadio Mane left, because imagine if Diaz signs after Mane leaves, then everybody would expect Luis Diaz to just straight up replace Mane's output, and that would have been a massive pressure on Luis Diaz's shoulder. Similarly to Cody Gakpo, he came in 6 months before Bobby Firmino left the club. If Firmino leaves and Gakpo comes in, immediately Cody Gakpo would have been a under massive pressure and under huge burden, and a very difficult situation to replace a Liverpool legend like Mane or Bobby Firmino. I mean, Mo Salah is pretty much irreplaceable. As I said, maybe the only player who can replicate his numbers is Kylian Mbappe, but we would have to restructure the whole team's almost like playing style, plus we would have to restructure our whole wage structure, and I'm not sure if Mbappe is worth the fuss, because Mbappe is like a huge brand in himself, and also his ego is massive. And at Liverpool, we don't really have players like that. Even Mo Salah, who is a global superstar, he's very humble, very down to earth. And he also sacrifices himself for the team so much. But this story I think is interesting enough, this Donyell Malen story, that he could come to the Premier League in January if somebody puts in a bid high enough that Dortmund would accept it, that I think it's worth talking about, because yeah, Liverpool sooner or later will have to think about how they go about replacing Mo Salah, who is an absolute legend, and I really wish that he wins AFCON with Egypt, but I wouldn't be too sad if he got knocked out early. I think Jurgen Klopp probably summed up perfectly when he said, I wish him all the best with Egypt, but I would lie if I said I want Egypt to win the Africa Cup of Nations, because that would mean Liverpool missing Salah for 6 weeks. Liverpool missing Salah for 3 or 4 weeks is fine, but if he misses the Arsenal game at the Emirates, the Chelsea game at Anfield, those are really, really tough games that Liverpool without Salah might win, but we have less of a chance to win those if Salah is missing. He also scored 5 goals for the Netherlands team, but 2 of those came against Gibraltar. So against Germany, Turkey and Croatia, he scored very, very good goals. But yeah, that's also not great in terms of numbers. 5 goals in 26 games for the Netherlands. So looking at Donyell Malen's numbers, I'm not entirely convinced. But at Dortmund he was second fiddle to Jadon Sancho and Erling Haaland for most of the time. And this season, when Haaland is not there, when Sancho is not there, when Bellingham is not there, Donyell Malen hasn't been irreplaceable, or he hasn't been like the guy, the man in the Bundesliga. Those have been other players like Victor Boniface, Guirassy, Harry Kane, Musiala, Leroy Sané. Those are the kind of players who are putting up incredible numbers. And Donyell Malen, just like the whole Dortmund team, is struggling to find form. So I'm not sure if this would be the best time to sign Donyell Malen, because as I said, even though we still have to find a Salah replacement sooner or later, we might even have a chance to extend Mo Salah's contract. But let's hear what Christian Falk said. So he said, in Germany everyone's happy that we are getting a big name like Jadon Sancho back to the Bundesliga. Everyone remembers the great football player that Sancho was before his move to Man United. He always brought the performance. They are hoping in Dortmund that he can show this again. From the first moment Dortmund was discussing the transfer with him, they made it very clear that he will play and play and play. They know his quality. It's a very cheap deal for Dortmund. They are playing a little bit more than 3 million euros all in all, including salary and transfer fee. In the end, Manchester United could get a better player back. So this works out for all parties, because at Man United he hasn't been playing because he had a big bust up with the manager. Dortmund also has a release clause they could activate, so there is a chance he could stay there next summer. Sancho's arrival would put a lot more pressure on Donyell Malen. He could be sold. Dortmund are open to talks if a Premier League offer comes in. So let me know, would you want Liverpool to go for Donyell Malen? I will be honest, I would wait until the summer and let's find out what Salah's decision will be about his contract. But Jörg Schmadtke is another topic that Christian Falk talked about. He said that Jörg Schmadtke and the club, Liverpool, had an agreement that they would talk at the end of February and the beginning of March over his future. Schmadtke is not sure what he will decide then. He will hear what Liverpool wants, and because he likes the club very much and he's enjoying his role, he will think about extending his stay beyond the summer, and if Liverpool want to keep him, then they have a chance to do so. At the moment it's really open and Schmadtke's contract is ending in June, so he is not currently set to help the club with their summer window dealings. With that in mind, it's important that Schmadtke and Liverpool sit down and talk early, as they can't start having talks with Schmadtke on July 1st ahead of the new season. We need to get some of our transfer business in motion like in April or May, and not wait until June or July. And what do you think about this story that RB Leipzig's chief executive has criticized openly Fabio Carvajal after his loan spell was cut short and was ended and he was recalled by Liverpool? Remember, Fabio Carvajal was supposed to go on loan until the end of the season to Leipzig, but it didn't work out. And now the chief executive of Leipzig actually attacked Fabio Carvajal in the media. He said, we consciously chose Fabio Carvajal last summer. He had a great season with Fulham in the English second division, the championship, which is very physical. We had said to ourselves, Fabio Carvajal is a great talent, good age, who has already gained his experience. Still, you only get to know a player as an end product when he's there. Fabio has a great character, but he realized, okay, there is competition here. I have to do more. And we noticed that he didn't want to face the competition. What does that mean though? Did he not work as hard as his competition? Was he afraid of giving his all in training? Like, it's very vague and ambiguous. And Fabio Carvajal anyway is now at Hull City, so it doesn't really matter what Leipzig's chief executive said. But it's still worrying that maybe Fabio Carvajal doesn't have the right attitude in training, and there is probably a reason there beneath that of why Jurgen Klopp didn't play him more. Because Fabio Carvajal was at Liverpool last season where we had massive injury problems, our midfield was terrible, and still Fabio Carvajal couldn't really get a lot of games. And maybe it was because he didn't work as hard as his competition, as hard as other players in training. Maybe he thought if he just shows up at training, he does a few flicks, he does a few skill moves, then maybe he will play. This is the danger with young players going to a big club like Liverpool. They get a huge salary increase. Fabio Carvajal's salary at Fulham in the second division must have been like here. And then at Liverpool, his salary must have been like here. Probably the Fulham salary is like here, and his salary at Liverpool is like here. Mo Salah is like up there. I don't even have a chart for that, but you get my drift, what I'm trying to say. That maybe he just thought, oh well, I made it. I can rest now. I don't have to work as hard. But at football, it's a ruthless business. And if you want to have longevity at the top of the game, you have to work every day, absolutely tirelessly, to give your everything, especially at Liverpool, especially under a manager like Jurgen Klopp, who is giving everything in the job, and he expects and demands their players to give everything in every training session, in every game, and every day of their life. They must be absolutely dedicated and committed. Mo Salah is the prime example of that, and Fabio Carvajal needs to work harder, because hard work always beats talent when talent doesn't work hard. You know that saying probably comes from Steven Gerrard, and I think, or somebody else, maybe from the NBA, I'm not sure, but let me know if you know where that quote originates from. But it really resonates with me, and because I have played football at a very low level, like 4th or 5th division of Hungarian football. I'm talking 11-a-side football. But even there you could see that some flair players had all the talent, but not the attitude, not the hard work. And when I was working harder than them, I was actually in the team and they weren't. And that happened even at a low level. Imagine at a high level where everybody has a lot of talent. So probably what separates you is how hard you work in training, and how hard you work during the games, and how you behave off the pitch, how you take care of your body. It's a very complex thing, and Fabio Carvajal needs to get it right. And I mean, going from Leipzig to Hull City in the English second division must be a humbling experience, and Fabio Carvajal needs to wake up and smell the coffee that this is one of his last chances to make it at the top level. He needs to have an absolutely brilliant season at Hull City for Liverpool to give him a proper squad place next season, because the competition at Liverpool is absolutely fierce, and that's how it should be. So yeah, that's my opinion. Let me know what is your opinion in the comments below, and thanks for watching, guys. Hope you enjoyed this video. Have a nice day. See you later. Goodbye.